Hello, my name's Ed Turnham. I'm a GP and I'm the clinical lead for digital strategy at Norfolk and Waveney CCG. Today, I'd like to show you how I'm using patient appointment invitations in SystmOne. These are a very powerful tool that's so far been released mostly for the purpose of the COVID vaccination programme. They allow you to send bulk patient appointment invitations by text message or email. Each patient gets a unique invitation link so that when they book in, the system knows who the patient is. It authenticates them using their date of birth, and that goes straight into the appointment book. So you can imagine this could save a huge amount of time for things such as booking blood tests. We're already started to use it in my practice on a small scale for booking blood tests, and I hope to be using that on a large scale in a sort of automated recall system in the near future. One thing I'm also doing is using it to allow patients to book face-to-face appointments with me. So we're using an online triage system. So mostly I'm getting an online request from the patient. If it looks like I'm probably going to need to see them face-to-face, I simply send them a link which allows them to book that face-to-face at a time that suits them. And I'm getting very good feedback from patients for that. It's more convenient for them and it's very quick for me. It only takes a minute or so for me to look at that form, decide I want to see them face-to-face and send that link. So let me show you how you can do this in SystmOne as an administrator. So there is a TPP document which partially explains how to do this. So you need to go to Help, Support and FAQs, Documents and Training Guides. It is quite well hidden. And it is under the bulk register and appointment booking website. It's giving me an error because I've already got that open. So here's part of the document here. This is a bit on setting up appointment invitation types, and it takes you through most of the process. But I found actually there were some hurdles which aren't explained in that document. So I'm going to just go through how it worked for me. The first thing to know is that to configure and set up patient appointment invitation types, you need to do that at an organisation group level rather than just at a practice level. You're probably already a member of some organisation groups. Maybe there's a CCG group. If you use Ardens, and all that content is shared through an organisation group. So what I had to do is actually set up a sort of dummy organisation group, which is simply for my own practice. So set up, user and policy, organisation groups. What I did is took the local CCG as the sort of mother group, and I set up an organisation group which is purely my own practice under that. I've made it so that membership must be approved, so no other organisations will just come and join by mistake and cause problems for themselves. As I said, I set this up purely to allow us to configure lists. So once you've done that, go again to set up users and policy, configured lists. You need to make the changes at organisation group level. So don't pick your current organisation, go to organisation groups and go into that group that you've set up. Go into appointments, it should be under here, but it's not. Here's another hurdle. You need to unclick this button, that text box at the top. Let's go back into it. Appointment invitation type, there it is now. It's almost like they don't want you to find it. So now what we can do is we can set up new options. So I've set up a new option at the organisation group level. We're still not done, so I need to go to my current organisation and put that option into the list of allowed options. So we've already got these permitted options here. The two COVID vaccination ones are set up automatically by TPP. These are ones I've already added blood test and face-to-face with me. This is the one I've just added now. So you need to now configure this list. So you can either right click here and configure list, or you can click up here, configure list. You need to move this blood pressure one here into the list of permitted options. Now we're done with that bit. So you've got that list of options set up. Now the next step is to match that to a rota type. So again, go into organisation preferences here. It's under appointments, go to patient appointment invitation. At the bottom here, we've got these different appointment invitation types, and you can match those to different rota types. So you can see the blood test one here is that's purely permitted for the HCA clinic rota type. So I've had to tidy up our rotas so that all the HCAs have clinics that are of that type. You can also have more than one rota type matched to a appointment invitation type. So we set up that new blood pressure one, we'd have to match that to a rota type 2. And at the top here, you can configure what slots can be used for patient appointment invitations. Now the drawback here at the moment, with the way it's set up, is that while you can configure which slots are permissible, these apply to all patient appointment invitation types. So for instance, if I were to want to have one patient appointment invitation type which is face-to-face with Dr. Turnham and another which is phone appointment with Dr. Turnham, if I were to have those both in the same rota type, that wouldn't work very well, because anyone I sent the face-to-face invitation to would also be able to see the phone appointment slots and vice versa, which would obviously be quite confusing for the patient. So that is quite limiting. It does mean you have to think quite cleverly about how you're going to use the system. There's no ability innately to filter according to staff member, which is why I've had to hack the system here by creating my own session type, which is purely for my own sessions. That can make it a bit complicated for the admin staff when it comes to creating the rotas, although to be honest, it's not that hard. So let's say we've done that. So I'm in my patient's record. If I want to send an individual appointment invitation, I've set up a link here. So what you need to do is configure the toolbar. Ideally do this at organisation level. You're looking for patient appointment invitation, send a patient appointment invitations. There it is. Just move that onto the right hand side there. It's there already. We click on that. We choose the invitation type we want. So let's say I want to allow the patient to book in for face-to-face with me. SMS or email, so either works. I tend to use SMS. That adds the URL, but you need to add some accompanying text, otherwise they're not going to know what's going on. So I've got a preset set up for that. Obviously you can set up various presets at user or organisation level. And that will go when you save the record. So here's a video I made earlier, which is what that looks like from the patient perspective. So they receive that text message on their phone, they click the link, they need to fill out their date of birth, so they can type it or do it the long-winded way through that calendar that's popped up. Unfortunately, the calendar obscures the submit button. You can see at the top you can filter by period. Automatically they're only showing the first 2 weeks, which is a bit of a stumbling block potentially, but they can click that drop down and see a wider range of dates. You can also filter by branch. You can see all the sessions there which have available slots. They go into a session and they can book an appointment. That will go straight into the rota. Unfortunately, the appointment comes through with no accompanying text, so there's nothing there saying bloods or mole, so you have to sort of guess what they've come about, or well, go into the journal to see what's going on. But nevertheless, I do find that's working well for me. Patients like it. It's saving quite a bit of time for me. I think it'll save a lot of time for our admin staff in terms of booking appointments while making sure that appointments only go to patients who actually need them and patients get the right kind of appointment.